हरि ओम। ओ ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाये नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करो वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वतीपतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। A very happy Gudi Padwa, New Year for all of you. Hari Om. We are revising the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. In the first chapter, it is conveyed that the suffering and sorrow and bondage which we are experiencing in this world is due to ignorance of our own self. We don't know who am I. We know our own existence, but exactly what is our nature is not known. And that causes all sorts of confusion, which gives rise to sorrow. So the only solution is to gain self-knowledge. One should recognize ourself as that supreme Atma, which is unborn, deathless, all-pervading, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, of the nature of bliss. Not only we should know that Atma, but we should gain that abidance in that Atma, in our own supreme self. So one who gains that abidance in oneself is called a Sthita Prajna. Such a Sthita Prajna is also called a Jivan Mukta, becomes free of this samsara bandhan. So this freedom from this samsara, freedom from all sorrow, and attainment of that supreme bliss is possible only through self-knowledge. So having heard this, in the third chapter, Arjuna begins with a question that if self-knowledge is the ultimate thing which we have to attain, then what is the role of karma? Why we should perform karma? Because one can just drop all karma and focus attention on gaining that self-knowledge and gaining abidance in the self. So Bhagavan tells Arjuna that this is immediately not possible. Due to our ignorance and due to our attachment, it is not possible to recognize our own self and to gain that complete abidance in the self. Therefore, the Shastras, they talk about the path of karma first. So there is this twofold path. Lokesmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta maya nagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. So first there is the path of karma yoga, and then there is the path of jnana, that is to gain that jnana nishtha. See, we have to first understand that this Atma is not which is confined only to this body, but it's all pervading. This Atma is not little, but Atma is big. That big in Sanskrit is called Brahma. Brahma means big. So I am Atma, Brahma. This Atma is big. This Atma is infinite. But at present we experience that Atma only in this body, and we think it is limited. So we have to expand our vision. We have to understand our all-pervasive nature and gain that abidance. But this is possible when our buddhi becomes pure. Because the buddhi is holding on to this body, holding on to our little personality, not wanting to give it up. So there is strong raga and dvesha in this body, in all that is, I think, as I and my. So one should become free of this raga dvesha. Then only we can transcend the body and recognize ourselves as that all-pervading Brahma and gain abidance in that Brahma. So this is possible only by performing actions and practicing that freedom from raga dvesha. Means performing our kartavya karma without having raga dvesha, with samatva buddhi, with asanga buddhi, and dedicating all these actions to Ishvara and accepting whatever comes as prasad of Ishvara. So when we keep performing actions in this way, our buddhi will start becoming more and more free from raga and dvesha, from intense likes and dislikes. Then we will be able to disentangle ourselves from this body, from our upadhis, and come to recognize our all-pervading nature. See, though we are not the doer, but at present in the state of ignorance, one considers oneself as the doer. So one has to do that karma. But Bhagavan says all karmas are binding except those karmas which are done as an offering to Ishvara. Yajñārthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. Therefore we have to perform karma, dedicating them to Ishvara. Because that is how the whole nature, whole world is made, out of that yajna bhavana itself. So Bhagavan tells Arjuna that all actions happen in the field of Prakriti only. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimodhatma karta ahamiti manyate. All actions happen in Prakriti, Bhagavan's Prakriti. So our body is also expression of Prakriti. Our subtle body is also expression of Prakriti. This world is also an expression of Prakriti. And all these actions are happening in Prakriti. And our ignorance, which has given rise to a false sense of I, that ahankar, is propelling this Prakriti in various actions. So taking the guidance of the Shastras, we should perform actions in such a way that while performing action, we slowly become free of this bondage of action. And for that Bhagavan says ki mai sarvani karmani sanyas adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Ki hey Arjuna, you dedicate all the actions, your kartavya karma to me, becoming free of the sense of I and my, you fulfill all your duties. If you do in this way, then slowly and steadily your antakarana will become pure and you will become fit to gain that self-knowledge. And in Karma Yoga, the most important thing is to fulfill our duty only. One should not try to do paradharma. One should not follow adharma, but one should follow the path of swadharma. Bhagavan says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavahaha. It is better to follow one's own dharma than to imitate somebody else's dharma. And one should, while performing our kartavya karma, one should focus on becoming more and more pure, making the antakarana pure, making the antakarana free of kama and krodha. Because this kama and krodha itself is the impurity of this antakarana. Kama, krodha and lobha are the impurities of this antakarana, which gives rise to this intense raga and dvesha. So one should, by performing actions, by developing that karma yoga attitude, make the antakarana absolutely pure. And once the antakarana becomes pure, we become fit to gain self-knowledge. So this path of karma yoga, Bhagwan explains in detail in this third chapter. And he also answers Arjuna's question about what propels a person to commit sin. Bhagwan says it is kama and krodha only, which has to be overcome by following the path of karma yoga, and thereafter gain knowledge of the self and gain abidance in the self. So this karma yoga makes us fit to gain self-knowledge. But self-knowledge we can't just gain just like that. We have to approach a teacher and learn. And our teacher has gained this knowledge from his teacher has gained from his teacher. So the whole Guru Shishya Parampara begins with Ishvara alone. So in the fourth chapter, in the beginning itself, Bhagwan talks about this Guru Shishya Parampara. Bhagwan says that imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvakave bravit. That I have taught this knowledge, this self-knowledge, I taught to the Lord's Son and to Hiranyagarbha. Bhagwan alone has taught this, gave this knowledge to Hiranyagarbha and to Lord's Son. From Lord's Son, the knowledge came to Manu, from Manu to Ikshvaku. In this way, through this Guru Shishya Parampara, this knowledge is imparted to all. So Bhagwan says, the same knowledge I have given to you, hey Arjuna. Because I am that Ishvara who is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupaha. And whenever there is decline in dharma, whenever there is disruption on this, on the path of this dharma, then I take avatar. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam shrajami aham paritrāṇāya sadhūnām vināṣāya ca duṣkritāṃ dharma sansthapanārthāya sambhavami yuge yuge. So I take avatar, I destroy the adharmi, and I protect those who are following the path of dharma, and I re-establish this dharma again and again. So I have done the same thing now by imparting this Bhagavad Gita teaching to you, hey Arjuna. So one has to gain this knowledge by approaching a teacher. Once our mind becomes absolutely pure, we can approach a teacher. So the mind becomes pure not only through karma yoga, but we can further purify it by refining that karma yoga, transforming that karma yoga into upasana or bhakti. So through upasana, we can further purify our antakarana. We can not only purify our antakarana by doing our duties in this world, but also we do yajna dana tapak karma, by which our antakarana becomes further pure. Bhagwan gave lot of different types of upasana, like even pranayam, and having some restraint in our eating. Also, through various yajnas like dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, swadhyaya yajna, jnana yajna. Through all these various types of upasanas and yajna, we can purify our antakarana. And once this antakarana becomes pure, we will develop the jitnyasa, and we will approach a master, a teacher. See, once the jnana comes, we like to know more and more about that supreme reality. So we will do a lot of satsang also. By Bhagwan's kripa, we will get an opportunity to do satsang. बिनु सत्संग विवेक न होई, राम कृपा बिनु सुलभ न सोई. So we'll do a lot of satsang. We will meet, we should meet different enlightened masters, different Mahatmas, great people, wise people, good people, have satsang with them, and then we develop an affinity and attraction towards one of the Mahatmas and consider that Mahatma as our teacher, as our guru, as our guide. So one should approach that teacher with due respect. So in Bhagwan says, कि तद विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानम ज्ञानिनस् तत्वदर्शिनः. That one has to approach a teacher. How should one approach? Pranipatena, with lot of reverence, with namaskar. We approach a teacher, do the seva of the teacher, and ask questions regarding that self. What is this self? What is bondage? What is liberation? What is that self-knowledge? So, remaining in the contact with the teacher, asking questions, doing seva, then the teacher will give us proper guidance. So, upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So that tattvadarshi Mahatma, a teacher, will teach us, will guide us, will point out that Atma to us. See, we, due to ignorance, we have this strong identification with this body. We consider this body itself as self. Also, we have strong identification with our subtle body, with the mind, with the senses. And this identification is very strong. So the teacher will point out to me that the self is really different from this gross body as well as the subtle body. By various technique of thinking, reflecting, and doing that viveka, the teacher will point out that self to me. The self which is not a doer, not an enjoyer, not a knower, which is pure, satyam jnanam anantam. See, when we are focused on the body, we think we are the doer. When our identification is with the senses, with the mind, we think we are the enjoyer. When our identification is with the buddhi, we think we are the knower. But when we are experiencing the deep sleep, we are separate from our body, both gross body as well as the subtle body. So I exist without these upadhis. And that I, who is free from these upadhis, who is different from these upadhis, is not a doer of any action. No action happens in the Atma, and the Atma doesn't do any action. Also, I am not the enjoyer of any emotions of joy, sorrow, fear, etc. Also, I am not a knower of anything. So that Atma will be pointed out by the teacher. Teacher will, through various ways, through the what you call Shariratraya Vivek, through Avasthatraya Vivek, through Panchakosha Vivek, the teacher will point out that Supreme Self, which we have to listen to the teacher, contemplate, and thereafter meditate. So Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan. See, the Shravan we hear and then we have to contemplate. So this is also an action. Action at the level of our mind, action at the level of our buddhi. So this is also part of Karma Yoga only. So Shravan and Manan is also Karma Yoga. But that Shravan and Manan will lead to proper understanding of our own self. We will get an intellectual appreciation of our own self, which will dispel all confusion, which will dispel all doubts from our antakarana. So Bhagavan says, Yad Jnatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi Pandava. Hey Pandava, having understood that self, Yat Jnatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi. You will not get confused as you are now. You will not again get confused. And what is that knowledge? Yena bhutani asheshena drakshyasi atmani. You will gain that knowledge of that self. You will understand that yourself is not confined to this body, but you are all pervading. You exist in everybody. Yena bhutani asheshena drakshyasi atmani. And everything exists in you. You exist in everything and everybody, and everything exists in you. And you and me are not different. The Jiva and Ishvara by Swarupa are not different. So this knowledge we will gain from our teacher. For that we have to have that pure intellect, because otherwise we will not be able to transcend identification with this buddhi, with this body, and understand ourselves as that all-pervading Brahma. So Bhagavan says this knowledge is so powerful कि अपि चेदसि पापेभ्य सर्वेभ्य पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजनं सन्तरिष्यसि. Even if a person is the greatest of all sinners, if one has committed lots of sin in the past, but if that person gains that knowledge, he will become free of all the sins. Just as fire burns all fuel, similarly this knowledge burns all papa. Yathedhamsi samidhognihi bhasmasat kurute arjuna jnanagni sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. Just as fire burns all fuel, similarly this knowledge will also burn all karmas. So one has to gain this knowledge. There is nothing more purifying than this self-knowledge. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitramiha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddhihi siddhaha kalenatmani vindate. So there is no greater purifier than this self-knowledge. So one has to gain this knowledge by approaching the right teacher and learning this right knowledge through the proper parampara, through proper sampradaya. And apart from that purity of our antakarana, one of the most important quality which is required to gain knowledge is Shraddha. Bhagavan says, if you have Shraddha in your teacher, if you have Shraddha in the Shastra, in the scriptures, and if you listen with that total faith and trust, you will definitely gain this knowledge. You will gain that conviction that you are that all-pervading Brahma. Otherwise, it will be very difficult, because our experience of ourself is limited only to this body. If somebody comes and tells me that you are all-pervading, I will never be able to accept that. It is something which is totally, will appear totally, unimaginable, unacceptable. But when we have that faith and we follow the process of teaching which is there in our Shastra, and we go through this Shravan Manan, we will definitely be able to gain that knowledge. And as I said, Shraddha is the most important quality. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparas sanyatendriyaha jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena digacchati. That when we have Shraddha, and when we have that enthusiasm to learn, and when we control our senses, our mind, and dedicate ourselves to gain this knowledge, Bhagavan says you will definitely gain this knowledge, and having gained this knowledge, you will also experience supreme peace. Jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena digacchati. Because this knowledge will inspire you to meditate and gain that abidance in your own self. You will develop that intense thirst to experience your own self. And that paradigm shift will happen. You will gain abidance in yourself and experience that supreme peace. Therefore, Bhagavan inspires Arjuna that you gain this knowledge and meditate and gain that abidance in your own self. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana samchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya. Give up all your doubt and follow this path, gain that knowledge and gain abidance in your own self. So this fourth chapter talks about the Guru Shishya Parampara, talks about the various upasanas, and also it conveys the importance of approaching a teacher and gaining this knowledge, self-knowledge, and what is the characteristics of this self-knowledge that is also revealed. And Bhagavan inspires Arjuna to follow this path and gain this knowledge. So after we have gained this self-knowledge, the only thing required is to meditate and gain that abidance in our own self. Then only we will be able to experience ourself as it is. First, we gain knowledge objectively. We gain that objective appreciation of our own self in a pure buddhi. It is like seeing my face in a mirror. So when the buddhi becomes free of raga dvesha and have that jidnyasa and the shraddha, and with these qualities when I listen to the teacher and contemplate, I gain an objective appreciation of my own self. I am convinced about it, that I am not limited to this body, but I am all pervading like space. I am everywhere and everything is in me. It is like the space in the pot is told that you are all pervading space. You are present in all the pots, and all the pots exist in you. You are the all pervading space. Who is told? The space within this pot is told. But that space will be able to appreciate this if it becomes free of its attachment to this pot. If it becomes free of its attachment to this Sukshma Sharir within. So similarly, when we become more and more free of our attachment to this body, become free of our attachment to our own limited personality and identity, we will be able to appreciate that I am that all-pervading Brahma. Through proper logic, through proper viveka, that conviction will happen that I am Atma Brahma. This Atma is actually Brahma. This Atma is not confined to this body, but is all pervading. Everything exists in this self, and the self exists in everything. So in order to gain that direct experience of that self, one has to meditate. One has to gain that paradigm shift. And for that, one has to drop all attachments, drop all identification with this body, mind, drop the notion that I am the doer, the knower, the enjoyer. So that is called karma sannyas. So the first step towards meditation is to achieve karma sannyas, and thereafter we practice that nididhyasana. So in the 5th chapter, Bhagavan talks about karma sannyas, and in the 6th chapter, Bhagavan talks about nididhyasana. So in the 5th chapter, he talks about what we should give up. And in 6th chapter, Bhagavan talks about what we should hold on to. So what was conveyed in the last shloka which we have seen in the 18th chapter, the 66th shloka, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. That Sarvadharman parityajya is explained in this 5th chapter. And mamekam sharanam vraja will be explained in the 6th chapter. Sarvadharman parityajya is karma sannyas. Mamekam sharanam vraja is nididhyasana. So when we do this twofold sadhana, we will become free of all our bondage and gain abidance in our own self. So this 5th chapter begins with Arjuna's question. So Arjuna is asking, ki what is better, karma yoga is better or karma sannyas is better? Bhagavan says that both are good, but first you follow the path of karma yoga, and when you become fit by gaining that self-knowledge, then you practice karma sannyas. The question that what is better and what is not better and all is not, should be for me what is good. At what level am I? If I have gained self-knowledge, then dropping all karmas is better for me. But if I have not gained that self-knowledge, then karma yoga is better for me. In the 6th chapter also Bhagavan will tell that arurukshor muner yogam karma karanam uchyate yoga rudhasya tasyeva shamak karanam uchyate. One who wants to practice meditation should first begin by purifying the mind and gaining that self-knowledge. Once that self-knowledge is gained, then drop all karma and meditate. Because meditation and action cannot go together. One has to drop all actions and all sense of doership. Actions will go on in Prakriti, but the sense of doership has to be dropped if we want to meditate. We can't meditate along with the sense of doership. It will be contradictory. Therefore, that karma sannyas is very, very important. And that Bhagavan explains in this 5th chapter. So a person who has dropped all this karma, means dropped the sense of doership, will see actions happening in the body, will see actions happening in the mind, the senses, but will know that I am not the doer. See, karma sannyas doesn't mean to stop the karma, but stop your identification with the sense of doership. Therefore, Bhagavan says कि karma sannyasi will have this experience. What? कि नैव किंचित करोमीति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् अश्नन् गच्छन् स्वपन् श्वसन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन्नपि इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन्. कि all this activity of blinking, of walking, of talking, of eating, all these activities which are happening at the level of our body, at the level of our senses, our mind, they are happening in the field of Prakriti. The Prakriti which has gone to make this body mind, and the Prakriti which is the expressing as this world, it is interacting with itself. The ahankar, which is an expression of Prakriti, is motivating all these actions to happen, and it is happening in the field of Prakriti. But I, the Atma, is not a doer, not a knower, not an enjoyer. I am just a witness of all this. Naiva kinchit karomiti, I am not doing anything. So, sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna kareyan. So, dropping all this sense of doership, that sadhak remains in this body, neither doing anything nor propelling any actions. Naiva kurvan na karayan. The sense of doership is dropped. Walking is happening, but I am not walking. Seeing is happening, but I am not the seer. Thinking is happening, but I am not the thinker. Eating is happening, but I am not the eater. The sadhak, identifies more and more with that Atma, which he has understood from his teacher. And more he drops his identification with the ahankar, which is a false notion, which is due to identification with the body, the mind, considering myself as the doer, knower, enjoyer. So Bhagavan, giving various examples, he teaches the path of karma sannyas as a preparation for nididhyasan. A sadhak who has attained that self-knowledge will see that self in all, will not only see the presence of this self in this body, but will know that the self is present in all. विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शुनि चैव श्वपाके च पंडिता समदर्शिनः. The wise person will know that the self is present in a brahmana, in a cow, in an elephant, in the dog eater. Same way it is present everywhere. Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. So he tries to gain that abidance more and more in that all-pervading self, rather than identifying with the body or the mind. So ihaiva tarjitas sargaha isham samme sthitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te sthitaha. That all-pervading Brahma, one who is established, one who identifies with that Brahma, gives up all other identification. So that Brahma is nirdosha, though it is present equally everywhere, in the good, in the bad, in the ugly, but that Brahma is ever pure. See, like space, the space is not only present in this pot, it is present in all the pots, it is present in all the places. The same space is present in the holiest of places and the most ugliest of places also. But the space never gets contaminated, never becomes polluted. Similarly, that Atma is present everywhere. Atma as Brahma is present everywhere, and it is ever nirdosha, free from all contamination. So Bhagavan says one should become free of all attachment to these names and form. Bahyas parsheshu asaktatma vindati atmani yat sukham sab brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. So the more and more we drop all this identification, the more and more we will be able to abide in our own self. So this karma sannyas is very important, but that karma sannyas can happen only after gaining self-knowledge. Before gaining self-knowledge, if we try to give up karma, then that is not proper. But after gaining self-knowledge, we drop this identification, we drop the sense of doership, and gain that abidance in our own self. Bhagavan says, Shaknoti haiva yas sodhum prak sharira vimokshanat kama krodhodbhavam vegam sayuktasya sukhi naraha. See what gives rise to that intense attachment, our kama and our krodha, as we have seen in the 3rd chapter also. So intense attachment happens because of our kamna. We seek pleasure, we want immediate pleasure, and those pleasures we gain through this body, through our senses. So we don't want to detach ourselves from this body, from our senses. We want to hold on to them. We want to hold on. Like some people, they eat some chewing gum and all. So in the beginning, they get nice sweetness from that chewing gum. But all the sweetness goes away, but still out of habit, they keep on chewing. They don't want to give it up. Similarly, one gets pleasures in this world through this body, through our senses. So we get attached to the body. And if anything comes in between, we get angry, we get annoyed. So, as a sadhak, we have to drop this attachment. Bhagavan says one who is able to overcome this pressure of काम and krodha before one dies is a good sadhak. Shaknoti ihaiva yas sodhum prak sharira vimokshanath kama krodhodbhavam vegam sayuktas sukhi naraha. He is well integrated and he alone is really happy. So kama krodha viyuktanam yatinam yata chetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. So one who has become free of this kama krodha, one who has dropped all his anger, his jealousies, his desires, sense of doership, such a person becomes fit to gain that Brahma, to gain abidance in that Brahma. So as I had said, that when we are looking into the mirror, we see our face, however much that face may resemble me, but still it is only a reflection. But when one looks at that reflection, one gets so much attached to it that one doesn't want to shift one's attention. But only when we shift our attention from the reflection, we will be able to abide in our own face, in our own self. In the same way, one gets attached to this body, one gets attached to the sense of doership, one gets attached to the sense of knowership, enjoyership, but unless we drop them through proper understanding, through vairagya, we will not be able to gain abidance in our own self. Therefore Bhagavan says, sparshan kritva bahirbahyan चक्षुश्च एवांतरो भ्रुवोः प्राणापानौ समौ कृत्वा नासाभ्यंतर चारिणौ. So he says, drop, let all the shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha remains outside only. When we want to meditate, we have to keep all the sense stimuli outside only. Should not allow the shabda, sound, taste, touch, etc. enter our mind and disturb us. We want to experience ourselves as we are, not along with our body, but without the body, without the mind, as we are. So keep all the sense stimuli away and shift your attention towards your own self. Yatendriya mano buddhihi munir moksha parayanaha vigatecha bhayak krodha yas sada mukta eva saha. One who is able to control his senses, his mind, his buddhi, and focuses his attention on his own supreme self and achieves that shift from the body, mind, intellect, from the sense of doership to that actual self. Bhagavan says, such a person becomes free. Yas sada mukta eva saha. He is always free, he is always liberated. So, this is a very interesting step in our sadhana that is called karma sannyas. See, traditionally also one takes sannyas. That's also a practice only. But the real karma sannyas is when we drop the sense of doership itself. Outwardly we may drop some karmas, we may drop performing lot of other activities, but unless we give up this sense of doership, the karma sannyas is not achieved. We have to give up the sense of doership through proper understanding. I am not the doer. See, this can be understood by just focusing our attention and understanding even one activity like breathing. Who is breathing? You say, oh, I am breathing. Are you really breathing? Or breathing is happening? If we contemplate, we will find that breathing is happening in our body. I am not breathing. Breathing is happening. Even when I am asleep, I am separated from my body. The body continues to breathe. So body is breathing according to the laws of Prakriti. Similarly, mind is thinking, indriyas are seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, according to the laws of Prakriti. I, the Atma, is not a doer. So, having understood this very deeply, properly, I should drop this sense of doership completely. That is called karma sannyas. So this karma sannyas is a important step towards what you call nididhyasana. Unless we achieve karma sannyas, we will not be able to practice nididhyasana, that meditation. So here in the 5th chapter, Bhagavan talks about this karma sannyas. And in the 6th chapter, Bhagavan will now talk about nididhyasana. So you remember all these chapters, the main teaching. So in the first chapter, we should know that the cause of all our suffering is avidya, ignorance of ourself. In the second chapter, Bhagavan gives self-knowledge. That is the solution. Only self-knowledge can remove avidya and give us moksha. But self-knowledge cannot be attained without purifying the mind. And purification of the mind, our buddhi, making the buddhi free of raga dvesha, can happen through karma yoga. So karma yoga is taught in the 3rd chapter. A refined karma yoga itself, we say, is upasana, and once the mind becomes more or less pure, then we should gain self-knowledge. So upasana and self-knowledge is taught in the 4th chapter. And once we gain self-knowledge, we should drop the sense of doership and gain abidance in ourself. So dropping the sense of doership is what is called karma sannyas, that is taught in the 5th chapter. And in the 6th chapter, Bhagavan will teach the path of nididhyasana. So that we will see in our class tomorrow. We will revise chapter 6, 7 and 8 in our class tomorrow. So you at home, you read these chapters, read the literal meaning, so you can be prepared to listen to the revision. Okay? So more about this we will see in our class tomorrow. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, revise Bhagavad Gita, and we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, बोले सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।